Yeah, I've taken to the dad noises. I've noticed at work.
Yeah, do you ever do that? Just sitting down, getting up, be like, oh, let's see what's on TV.
I have noticed like every time I get out of my chair at work, and like I've even tried focusing, like not making any noise. I can't do it. Back's too stiff.
I do that when I get out of my easy chair.
Yeah, there it is.
And then it's usually like the noise after that. Well, hey guys, what's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, right now. Pre-recorded for your live listening pleasure for another episode of This Evening Tonight. And here with us this evening, this afternoon, and whatever time it is that you're listening.
My good friend, everyone's favorite silver fox of swing out there.
What up? I thought you were done.
Hello again. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Doing pretty good, yeah. Scott's a little poop today. He had a busy day. Did busy day things.
I mean, it wasn't busy. I you know, age. I guess I don't know. I really don't have an excuse.
I'm just weary.
Dog.
Why? I'm just so weary from being old.
Dog tired, boss.
I'm just tired. Well, I know I got the thing here that he's already sucked down his gullet and is already gone before we even got a chance to talk about it, and that's this week's coffee. Have we had this on the show before?
I don't know if we've had it on the show, but I know we did drink it last week, didn't we?
I think we did. This week, guys, we're drinking Café du Monde, the original French market coffee stand out of Louisiana, New Orleans. Out of New Orleans, Louisiana, whichever way you want to think about it. It is a coffee and chicory. Let's see. It says here, according to it, that this is the exclusive coffee and chicory blend served at the Café du Monde. The original French market coffee stand serving café au lait, L-A-I-T, café au lait, I don't know. Hot baguettes, French donuts, 24 hours a day, year-round. This popular New Orleans landmark has been located in the French market since the early 1860s. So the first time we had this, though, we kind of brewed it the normal way, and I think I did use the French press, and we put too much in there, and it was just smoky, tarry, just holy shit strong. And it was just definitely, like, there was so much oil rising to the top of it, it just was straight greasy. Now this time, I made sure I got to it before Scott was able to get his hands on the French press, and did just a touch. Like, if it was tablespoons, it was probably 4 or 5 tablespoons, and that was it. And because I could tell that there wasn't much in there, because when I pressed it, it just went smooth. But man, is it good. The flavor, hang on, just get a little.
Yeah, this is probably, other than the Neebs Gaming, this is probably my number one right here.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's me. Oh.
Rockstar.
Oh, stop it.
Blowing up.
Oh, God. No.
Where you at?
Cats yelling, screaming, all sorts of shit. Okay. So, Cat Damon. Meow! No, cat, no!
Is he still in here? Or
No, he's outside.
Oh.
You want to crack the door for His Highness? Quit. You always got that thing deep inside you. The microphone, that is. Kitty! Come here, kitty cat.
My body, my choice.
Kitty cat! Come here, kitty cat. Come on now. Kitty. Who's your big chubby boy? Hey there, Tubbs. Cat Damon.
His eyes are all big. I'm scared.
God, yeah. That means he's happy and he's looking to slice a man up.
I'm going to relocate over here. Like, I mean, we don't have a guest. I can do this, right?
Yeah, you stretch out. Enjoy yourself.
Man spread.
Yeah, this, for a while, for these really strong espresso-inspired coffees, this Café du Monde is now my favorite. Before it was the Bustelo. Like, because we had the Lavazza, which was like second place, and then Bustelo was up top, and this knocked them all down.
There he goes again.
Overall coffee, though, still got to go with the Neebs.
Yeah, I
don't know what kind of magic they're sprinkling into it, but keep it going.
But this stuff that like chicory just does that. Like,
What is chicory?
I'm not even sure. You might want to research that.
I don't want to. I just want to speculate. I feel like it's a tree.
It's probably some kind of tree bark. of
Didn't
some
like
sort.
George Washington chop down the chicory tree?
Maybe.
No, that was
we weren't there.
That was a cherry tree. Just so we're aware, we're not completely stupid.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But all right, guys, it is that time here once again for your weekly update of the Corona COVID-19 / week behind numbers. So it is definitely slowed down because right now we're at 4,312,969 total confirmed cases worldwide. Global death seems to be leveling out here in the 200s, almost 300,000. We're at 294,155 globally. And in the United States right here, out of the 4.3 million, we make up 1.3 million of the cases with 83,150 dead. Looking at the algorithm here, or not the algorithm, but the graph representation of our line or curve and rate of infection here from the Johns Hopkins University of Medicine Coronavirus Resource Center. It is slowly and almost imperceptibly, but you can still perceive it, flattening. It is leveling out because we as a people mostly are doing the right thing. We're wearing our masks, we're washing our hands, we're trying not to touch our faces as much. Like I said, once this all came out and they told me not to touch my face, I realized how much I love to touch my face. I'm touching my face right now because I just used some of the Germex, so we're good.
Is that the reason it's leveling out?
What, Germex?
No, that we're all doing the right thing.
I would like to think so. I'm looking at it in a utopian society, even though I know we don't live in one, and I'm just going to say, hey, it's all leveling out because too many people look for these outlets that are things like this show and don't want to come over here to not think about the Rona and then have a bunch of negativity thrown at them. We're just trying to keep a positive outlook on that. Anything going on behind the scenes? Feel free to research it yourselves, guys, but
Forgot about that.
look, like I said, we're not talking about this. We're just getting the numbers out.
Fine.
Because it gets old.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I stopped paying attention to the global numbers like 3 episodes ago. Like I still keep up with, the statewide numbers, but.
And that is all for the daily, weekly behind update numbers of the Rona. Because, gosh darn it, it's just so damn depressing. And slightly uplifting, though, to see that the curve is slowly but steadily flattening.
Spread shop.
Oh, yeah, guys. For those of you that have been seeing here in the last 2 episodes, a somewhat cryptic June 1st, 2020. That began it was in the beginning of, not the most recent episode, but the one before that. And then you got a little taste of it at the end of the last episode where we all talked as veterans for that episode with our friend Flint Hollow. So what that is actually deferring to, guys, for you is, I figured, why not? Because it'll be close to it coming out by then anyway, that is when we are going to be opening up the merchandising for this evening tonight. And that'll be on spreadshop.com. Those are the guys that run Spreadshirt. Spreadshop will be our own little corner of the internet there that we've hollowed out for ourselves. And then we're going to have just some nice little merchandise if you guys want to support the show.
Real fine looking coffee mugs. Yeah, we're definitely going to get a couple of those just for the office in here to have. Because it really gives me that official feel, I mean, you haven't made it till you have a coffee mug.
Mm-hmm.
That's his business.
And there's all sorts of things on there. I was just showing Scott, it's T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, but then we got some hats. There's bandanas if you're a bandana-wearing kind of fella. You also get a bandana for your dog or your cat. Oh, what else was some of the stuff that was on there? I mean, there was like tie-dye shirts and I just went through and clicking. I said, yes, I want this logo on everything.
Socks.
Yeah, there's socks. You can get some this evening tonight socks. But yeah, guys, once it's live, which it is not right now, like I said, June 1st. Once the store goes live, I'll start including links in the descriptions below and probably doing like the card thing that YouTube does where it'll throw it up there while you're watching. Like, hey, you want some sweet merch? But all right, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. It's been a nightmare getting this kind of stuff off the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to do merchandise, and once I started going into everything, there's a bit of a process. The tax paperwork was one thing. That's a lot of fun, getting the W-9 all done up and then sent back and get it approved through the IRS.
just to make sure you're doing it the right way. And that's why I needed to make sure that we had the ample amount of time to get this store up and running and make sure that it's going to have everything in there that we want. Like right now, if we wanted to, we could probably launch it right now. But there's a couple more products I want to get on there. We have a few more ideas that we want to throw into it to give you guys some more selection.
Banana hammocks.
Yeah.
For the whale tails for the ladies.
I didn't see any underwear, but we can do the baby clothing if I do like the made in China with the Trump face on it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Make like the toddler onesie. I don't think we're going to go that route, but whatever. We got coffee mugs. That's what I'm super happy about, and I'll probably get a hoodie. I like a good hoodie.
I mean, you can never have too many hoodies.
My girl likes to steal all my hoodies, so she could be out there wearing it, like marketing the show inadvertently.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, please, once the store goes live, please help out the show. We've invested a lot in this to bring it to you guys, and while it's something that I love, and I really do love it, I do love doing this, it has there is a financial cost to it, and if you guys would like to help absorb some of that for us by buying a mug or a shirt or a hat or whatever, we definitely would be thanking you here for you. We'll give you a shout out on the show if we can.
For only 50 cents a month.
50 cents a month. Yeah, I don't want to start like I'm looking at Patreon. I really don't want to start a Patreon. I've had a Patreon business account before, and there's so much shit to manage. Like right now, as it sits, like most people know that Scott is my co-host. Once we get done recording, I pretty much have to take a week to make sure everything is done. I do the editing. After the raw capture of it, we transfer files over and make sure that everything's in the right format, make sure the bit rate's right, the megahertz is right. Then we have to go through and I have to do the editing, which after about a week, I'll almost wait till like the day before we record another one to get it done. And it is overwhelming. If anything goes through with this, I'd like to see the merchandising actually work in my favor, where, God, what if I could hire an editor? That's how the big wig. That's how they do it up in the big leagues.
I don't know, but you just single-handedly made me feel like crap for not doing anything.
God damn it! No, you do plenty. You helped carry the show. You got me on the coffee train for one. You brought the French press. Okay,
this is true. That's my contribution to greatness, right there.
Right there.
Coffee equipment.
Besides, this equipment was used. I mean, this equipment was used for other stuff. It wasn't. I didn't build this office just for the show. Old River does a little bit of voice acting on the side, guys. And don't worry. Once some of the projects have been released, I'll probably include some links to those. Got a video game here that we're coming up to do anytime to be released. It's being developed by indie developer Electrostalin Entertainment, which is a Russian indie developer. And I think it's only like 3 guys that have been working on this game. And it was supposed to be released back in 2018. So there were... Wow. God, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the article, and it's
the first time you hear it, like you're like, that's not right.
So, as you guys know, myself, Scott, and most of the guests that we have on the show are all veterans, and we talked about a little bit about our service. And I know as a former service member that we got to play with some pretty cool toys and some things, just cool boomsticks. You can't say the G word, or else I get flagged on YouTube. Guns, fuck it. This fucking cat. Cat, you shut the hell up or you're off the show.
I wish you could see his face right now. He's just like...
Mom, the meatloaf!
Shut the door. I was staring at it.
Anyway, so we get to play with a bunch of cool little things, gadgets and weapons. And I mean... What was the coolest thing you ever got to use in the Army?
I'm a big fan of the Maul Deuce, the 50 cal. Like that,
Yes.
I've used that in the Mark 19, but like I prefer the 50 cal just because it just sounds cool. But as far as like any kind of equipment, we had these jammers on one of my tours. And, I can't really go into the details about them. Not that they're necessarily classified, but I don't know what's they're still using and what they're not using, but... I'll just say that they were a step up from what
our average U.S. jammers are.
You talking about like a radio jammer?
Yeah, like
Okay.
yeah, like what like the Duke system, sorta, only better. So those were fun to play with, just because like you could drive through town and turn them on when you weren't supposed to, and watch everybody's cell phone call drop. Yeah.
You guys didn't work with the little satellite dishes on the up armoreds? That
Satellite dishes.
they looked like a satellite dish. I can't remember the official name for them, but they emitted
The boomerangs?
They emitted the microwave that you walk into, and it felt like severe sunburn.
Oh, the LRADs?
Yeah, LRADs. Long range
Okay,
area denial system, right?
So my only experience with those is we had those on my first tour, but we weren't allowed to use them. Like, we had them, we inventoried them, but they were kept under lock and key, and it took a colonel's approval to use them.
That's what I heard. I know
yeah.
a few guys that had them in their detachments and squads or whatever, and they were like, "Yeah, we had them, but we never." Everybody I talked to that had them never got to use them.
I think they were afraid of the negative PR. Like,
they hit them with ray guns. We microwaved them. Like,
but nothing was better than just like cruising down the street and like. For being the third world, everybody has cell phones, and they're like on them all day long. You just kick the jammers on, and you look over, and you watch them just slowly pull it on their phone, look at it, and shake it like, what's wrong with my phone? Great.
I think Cat Damon's finally calmed down.
It's the small things in life, you know?
Mm-hmm. So let me see. The coolest thing I ever got to play with in the military.
Oh, the eye in the sky. I can't think of the name of it now. The little blimps. We had access to one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't run it, of course. Like, they have civilian contractors to do that. But we had, like, a live feed into them, and we could call them up and be like, hey, we're running this route today. Can you kind of get eyes on?
Mm-hmm.
And they would we could watch our convoys go out and come back if I wasn't actually with them.
Oh, neat.
That was all. Or you could even do, like, a route recon ahead of time. Like, hey, can you show me route Indigo, whatever, all the way up to the airport, you know?
Yeah.
That was good times.
I got to play with like barrier saws, stuff like that. Those were cool. But still to this day, my most favorite like thing that wasn't like my regular issue was like you'd have to draw a weapon out of the armory just to assume your post for the day. My favorite that I never got to have other than in training, M67 frag grenade. I've gotten to throw 2 of those in my life, and still to this day, I can feel the weight of it and the concussion. Like when you duck down after you throw it, and just you hear that, and then
Yes.
the dirt just comes raining down. I love those things. When I was being trained to use those, we had like an all-day course or whatever on these because they're like, don't do what everybody doesn't want you to do. Don't throw the pin and drop the grenade. And my instructor, I don't remember his name, but he always had the best thing on it was you'd stand there at like almost like a weaver stance, feet shoulder width apart, and had your hands down here at your out at your stomach, just kind of waiting to receive, like you were getting ready to receive a football almost, like somebody was going to hike you the ball. The instructor would come up to you, and you'd be standing there, go right or left-handed, meaning which hand you're going to throw with. You'd be like, right. Prepare to receive grenade. Put your hands out like you're going to be given a grenade. Receive grenade. You receive it, pull it back into you. Prepare to throw grenade. Arms come up. Put your finger in the pin, other hand on the grenade, holding the spoon. They say, prepare to pull pin. Pull pin. You pull it. The pin arm goes out. You drop the pin. Arm goes straight out like river dance. And then you chuck that thing with the other hand holding it. And as soon as you chuck it, you duck down, wait for the boom, and then that's it. I still remember that, and that's been over a decade. Now, people got too excited. I knew a guy that got too excited, and they would just be like, right or left-handed? Yes. all they wanted to do was throw the grenade. So they'd just be like, right or left-handed? Yes. Right or left-handed? Yes. Right or left-handed? Right. Like, and we had a guy that threw the pin and dropped the grenade. I cannot believe that it happened, that like the military, there is a reason why they have to tell you this, because there are people that do it. and I've seen it. And this kid was like 7 feet tall with like size 15 shoes, and the instructor was probably a quarter his size. But when that happened, I remember looking over and seeing them, because he dropped it in that little
the box,
the little concrete box that you stand in. Dropped it, and that instructor picked this gigantic dude up, hurled him into the next box, and then dove in with him just in time for that thing to blow up. Did not wash him out. Whatever. I hope he's doing well, both of them.
Good times.
They're heavier than I thought. The first one I threw, I was just like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, ooh, that one was close. My instructor was like, you need to throw harder. I said, okay, I wanted to be close. I wanted to feel it. He's like, you're going to fucking feel it, guy. But yeah, God, those frag grenades, man. So yeah, we had a lot of good technology that came out of the military in terms of technology that was applied to be used in the field. Now we were looking at some things that were thought up by some think tanks, by some people that got government money and got paid to think these ideas up.
Ultimate good idea,
The
Fairy.
ultimate, wow. So we have, right now it's the 2 non-lethal psychochemical weapons that the U.S. Air Force Research Lab speculated about producing, which I like the word where it says speculated because that means they thought about it and then they went, we probably shouldn't do this. So the 2 that we're going to talk about here, we have the halitosis bomb and the gay bomb. The theories involved discharging female sex pheromones over enemy forces in order to make them sexually attracted to each other. And this was done not that long ago.
Somebody thought this was a good idea.
This wasn't back in like World War II.
No.
This wasn't done back in Vietnam or Korea or anything like that. 1994. 1994. Okay? 26 years ago. According to the algorithm and according to our analytics, most of the people that listen to this show were alive in 94. Okay? Was that Desert Storm era? I want to say that was
It was like 2 years after, 2 or 3 years after.
That was...
Bill Clinton era.
Wow. It's okay. Let me see if we can find some stuff here. Okay.
What I want to know is, like, when they came up with this idea, had there been prior research? Would this actually work?
I don't know. God, they have different. Oh my God, they won a Nobel Prize for it.
Oh God.
Wright Laboratory in 2007 won the Nobel Peace Prize for instigating research and development on a chemical weapon, the so-called gay bomb / poof bomb, that will make enemy soldiers become sexually irresistible to each other. There's enough
the wording,
like,
man.
Slight homoeroticism that goes on in the military anyway, just like jokingly that people do, that you don't want to throw that shit in the mix. The term field fuck will have a whole new spin on it, a whole new shine to it. So anyway, they're looking here. There was a bunch of research done back in like 1970 based on these rhesus monkeys using like androstenone, auxiliary sweat, vomodors, has been claimed to act as human pheromones. Using these like monkey pheromones, they were going to adapt it, change it, and put it in to these bombs. So,
Monkey sweat.
in the documents, there weren't too many documents leaked about it. They talked about, in both the documents that were released, the possibility was canvassed that strong aphrodisiacs could be dropped on enemy troops, ideally one which would also cause homosexual behavior. What... The weapon was described as distasteful, but completely non-lethal. So they had a couple other different versions, like the halitosis bomb, which was supposed to, like, apparently give everybody horrendously bad breath. So I guess we couldn't whisper secrets to it. Like, the enemy couldn't whisper secrets to them. The body odor one, which was supposed to make everybody stink. There's the heavy sweating bomb, where that means that you're just going to sweat to death. I mean, you could die from sweating too much, because that means it's forcing your body to cool itself, expending all of its fluids, but whatever. The flatulence bomb, a gigantic fart bomb. But the plan was to make an enemy so smelly they could be quite literally sniffed out of hiding by their opponents.
And all these things happen in combat anyway.
Mother of God. Yeah, like none of these think tanks think to talk to anybody on the ground. No grunts. Like, do you know, like, look, man, you don't want to be doing that. Like Jim Jenkins over there, he's already the stinky kid. You get him around this shit, we'll probably just die from the smell. Like, hell, take that laundry from the PT gear that I had to fish out of a trash bag we talked about in the last episode. You could have weaponized that.
I mean, it was an Air Force project, so.
Hey, look, man, it finally took the Air Force to reveal how bad the Bradley was back in the day.
That's true.
There was a movie made on that where all the different branches for like 30 years worked on the Bradley. And then the Air Force got it, and this captain that was running the project was saying, this thing really is a piece of shit. And then they just like packed it with explosives and shot it in its strongest point, which was weak as shit, and it blew up. And they're all cheering because they blew up the Bradley because they hated it. But all the bigwigs were like, oh, you blew up our Bradley. It's like, yeah, it really is a piece of shit. Because it was originally supposed to be just an APC, just a troop carrier, and that was it. But then the Good Idea Ferry visited some bigwigs and said, let's put a turret on it. Let's put this on it. Like, what else can it do? Like, everybody wanted to make it they wanted to put their little mark on it to make it their own.
I mean, that just goes to show you all it takes is like one person in the wrong position with authority saying, no, this really is a good idea. We're going to stick with this.
Yeah, like the think tank in 94.
Yeah.
Like, the Good Idea Ferry visits a lot of people, and for whatever reason, that it only picks people in positions usually of power and authority.
Yeah, you never ask the front line somewhere.
You don't. Yeah, the front line guy doesn't like get that glazed over Stepford Wives look in his eye, and he's just, oh man, it would be really cool. Yeah, if I slept 8 hours a night, like that would be the Good Idea Ferry for the grunt. These guys are like, oh man.
Let's give them all speed.
Yeah, we'll make them wear their Class A's every Friday. Like, turn the windshield wipers around backwards. Make it so aerodynamic.
What I want to know, though, is like, so now we have female soldiers in a lot of, even in the infantry now. What potential effect would that have on like males interacting with the females? Like,
I don't know, but here's this is my question. What is the practicality of it? Okay, you've now made the enemy attracted to each other. So you know what? You just made them all fall in love. Okay, so when you fall in love, and now you're in a situation where you have to fight to protect not only your country but your lover, you are going to fight even harder.
Possibly. Mm-hmm. I think the thought behind it was that they'd be so
too
occupied getting busy.
Like that's the only thing that makes sense. Like, it wasn't just going to be we're going to make them like each other. Like, they won't be able to peel themselves off of each other.
Irresistible.
Like, this bomb contains 5,500 gallons of Spanish fly. Just
but
and eugenics mixed into it.
I mean, like,
weaponize Viagra. Powder that and sprinkle it over somebody. Hit your enemy with a crop duster of vaporized Viagra. Like, you're not going to be able to go prone to shoot your rifle.
I mean, like, if the pheromones are going to have the same effect on females, like, is there going to be a preference? I mean, like, in the military as it is, guys fight over girls,
Yeah.
I mean, now you're going to take it to the deadly level, or is it just not even going to matter? Like, it's whoever smells good.
The fact that some of this stuff exists. I mean,
I'm not even going to lie. I didn't even brush my teeth every day.
Hey, you know what? I actually was a gross thing to admit. I've been slacking on brushing my teeth, but like recently now, I've been doubling down. Like every time I eat something, I'll brush, floss, mouthwash, man, because I only got this one set of teeth, and I'm not trying to mess them up,
I mean, you think about that, and you combine it with, probably
with all the coffee we drink too, man. The stains alone.
Chain smoking at the time.
Mm-hmm. God, when I was a smoker too, God, my teeth were, ugh. It was bad. I highly recommend a sonic toothbrush if you don't have one.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it, but my gums and everything, when I did not take care of my teeth, and like really, I just, when I got out of the military, I'm like, fuck brushing, which is a bad thing at like 25 years old to be thinking about. And long story short, I went to my dentist. They were like, yeah, your teeth are effed up. You should probably brush. And I said, okay. But they were like, no, get a sonic toothbrush. And I was like, what's that? And it vibrates at that frequency or whatever. You hit your gums with it, and it regenerates your gums because the sonic pulses in it force your blood to flow. It increases the blood flow in your gums. Like, if you flick your ear real hard and it gets hot because that's increased the blood flow because all that blood's rushed to it. Same concept.
It stimulates your mouth.
Stimulates your gums. It helps like saliva production. It helps. I didn't know that like having a clean mouth tied so much in your health. Like I said, like if you just have a clean mouth, it reduces your risk for like heart attack by 87%. 1,000%, like some obscene number for heart disease and diabetes and all this stuff that they said a healthy, clean mouth will have all these positive effects. Now, it could just have been dentist propaganda.
What are some other ingenious ideas the military's come up with or just stupid? Like, I didn't have a chance to research any.
I mean, we all know the atom bomb. They did that. Now, here, quick question for you. Do you know how many atom bombs were detonated in World War II?
2.
Negative.
Well, I mean,
4.
besides testing.
No, not even in testing. I'm talking used. There were 4 used in World War II.
How so?
Okay, so I'm going to give you like the drunk history version, even though this is just coffee, because I don't have all of the facts laid out in front of me. So if I'm wrong, go ahead and make fun of me in the comments, whatever. So after we got Germany to surrender in World War II, next we had to move on to Japan because the Marines had been fighting in Japan like hard. It was from what a lot of people have been telling me and from what I've been able to see through the internet and documentaries and hell, like the Tom Hanks series is, there was the Pacific. Good. If you've never seen the Pacific, I highly recommend it. It's an amazing show. I like Band of Brothers better, but I kind of grew up when it first came out. But anyway, we saw how badly the Marines were getting beat up in Japan just because of how hard of the terrain was just harder, and it was just almost literally just like an uphill battle. And
it was logistically challenging because
the logistics were challenging. They had issues with supplies, and the Japanese were like way tougher. People talked about the Germans. There was like the Reich and the SS and stuff. Those guys were the hardcore Germans, but then you just had regular Germans in the army. Said for the most part, the Japanese were all raised with that military discipline before even going into the military.
Well, I mean, they believed that their emperor was in fact a god.
Yes.
And that they were serving his cause.
Yeah. So anyway, the U.S. pretty much told Japan, said, look, we have a weapon that will wipe you out. They asked them to surrender. They said no. So then they went, it was like 1,000 nautical miles out in the ocean. Told them, hey, look over there at this date at this time. Blew up a bomb. So 1,000 nautical miles away, they could still see the explosion. They said, that was 1,000 nautical miles away. And they went, yeah, we don't believe it. No way that was 1,000. So then they took it to a small island called Yonaguni and then placed one there. And I think it was like 700 nautical miles away. Detonated it. And they went, no, we don't believe you. You don't have a weapon like that. And then they hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they went, we surrender. That bomb is terrifying, and now we have more powerful versions, because that's your A bomb. That's the atom bomb. Developed by, was it Oppenheimer?
That sounds right. But
it was Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project. If you've never seen that movie, another good movie. It had Matthew Broderick in it. I think it was called the Manhattan Project.
I mean, for all the debate that people could have over whether we should have or should not have dropped the bomb, I'd like to think we're probably better off, because if you think about it in these terms, what if we had made it all the way to this point in history not knowing what the real effects, like the true
I don't even want to
destruction,
I do not want to think about that. So now we also have the hydrogen bombs, which are way more terrifying. But like, if you watch the movie about the Manhattan Project and you watch these guys have like bricks of lead when they're playing with the uranium cores or plutonium or whatever they used, and that was their protection. Like they just were like standing, like they were looking up over the wall of lead bricks, just to like look at it, but because they thought radiation just went straight out for whatever reason. You looked at it going, like there no suits, no radiation suits, just lead.
Right.
Standing there in lab coats, smoking cigarettes. Like, oh, okay.
I mean, we were the only ones for a while that actually had that technology till, was it the Rosenbergs that sold it to Russia? I can't remember. I don't know. But can you imagine if we had made it up to this point where we only had the bomb, how that would have changed geopolitics?
Severely.
Well, I mean, probably by this point, somebody else would have developed it on their own.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if you were the only country that had it, then that country would rule the world.
Would the Cold War have even taken place?
Probably.
Well, it looked a lot different.
I think it might have. But like I said, here, like when I was in the military, I was in somewhat of that field. And it was always called a deterrent. which that's what they are. Nukes are like, it's the nuclear deterrent.
Right.
Which a nuclear deterrent is another nuke. It's from, what was it, during the Cold War, there was also the arms race and everything, and like we had enough to blow up the world like 7 times. Russia had enough to blow it up like 7 times. And then we started reducing it, and I think we each have enough to blow it up maybe twice. Yeah. Still too much.
I'd like to think we probably came to that point where we're both like, once is good. Like, this is just a waste of money for both of us.
Yeah, but the deterrent aspect is if you're one country, you can launch that willy-nilly and no worry about anybody and no repercussions. The thing that keeps people from worrying about going to war with it is if they launch theirs, if I shoot mine at you, you're going to shoot yours at me, and then it's just going to suck because then we got nuclear winter and
I see what you're saying.
And radiation. Like it's pretty much like a giant the Mexican standoff. We each got our big guns pointed at each other, and we know you shoot, I shoot. Okay, so I'm not going to shoot, and you're not going to shoot. Okay, but we're still going to point them at each other.
I believe the term is mutually assured destruction.
Yes, mad. Because if that ever happens, that is madness. That's why if we ever have another war in this world, like if there's like another world war, I hope to God it stays conventional.
I'd like to think of one. I don't think anybody's that crazy.
You never know, man. Like people in defeat, people on the losing side get desperate.
North Korea would be the exception, I think.
Yeah, what about him?
Like, man, I don't know.
They said they're that Kim Jong-un is still alive, but they haven't really confirmed. They said there was a message that he sent out to his people, like a video, but
see, the thing with that is, like, you can never really truly trust what comes out of that country because they have such a strict control on their information. And I'm just saying, I haven't seen him in any public appearances lately.
Oh, you don't follow him on the gram?
No. I mean, like, I think it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are pretty sure a lot of people are pretty sure he gone.
Yeah, they're probably trying to figure it out, hold on, maintain whatever power they have.
The thing I liked was that I thought, well, not liked, but I thought was kind of funny was they had to get doctors from China rushed in there
to save him. Yeah.
To save him because the Korean doctors they're not used to dealing with fat people because he's like the only fat guy in that country. You're like, he's so fat. Why are you so fat? You're too fat, fat boy.
I was talking about this today. If you really think about it, like going back to his grandfather, every generation of that leadership has gotten potentially or exponentially worse in health.
Yeah.
When you go back to his grandfather, all skinny and frail, to now he's
just fat and happy. Well, I guess his sister's going to be running stuff.
Yeah.
And she's terrifying.
She probably is already running things.
Yeah, like God, what is it? I don't know her name off the top of my head, but I know she's not fat. Like she looks like she's kind of in shape or whatever. Like she looks normal, like she's like healthy. But all the video that I guess that is seen of her behind him, she's all smiles and everything, and waving the flag and the banner. But then they say as soon as the cameras go off, and this is coming from like defectors and people that have escaped, I guess, the country, that she is just like a stone cold killer.
Well, I mean, it's North Korea. You probably have to.
I mean, I don't think it's like the people in that country, like the regular people. I don't think that they're like that. I think they're just trying to survive.
Probably like the inner circle are like terrified of her.
Yeah, I believe that. Like I know the rumor mill about her is that like she's just murking people in that cabinet, like straight up, like not covertly but overtly. Like, oh, disrespect, bam, capping dudes.
Maybe she figured out a way to take over.
Ooh.
Plot twist.
Tinfoil hat. Oh, here, you want a tinfoil hat thing.
I mean, wouldn't it? I mean, look at the way his brother died. What was it, in Singapore? Or what was that?
Like
Japan?
The acid on his face? Or
it was some sort of disease or something.
Yeah, it was, it was like a bioweapon. Like sarin gas, but it wasn't sarin. It was like it was like that VX gas.
Yeah, that's right.
It was pretty much like just a little vial of VX, dab, like chloroformed him, but used this VX gas agent, and wow, like yeah, he died, I think, very quickly.
So anything's possible.
Yeah.
We could talk about Montauk.
Montauk.
Yeah, look that up.
How do you spell that?
Motauc or K. It'll come up. Montauk Island in New York. pretty much like a real world Stranger Things.
Oh, Montauk. Montauk, New York is a village at the east end of the Long Island Peninsula. It's known for its beaches like Ditch Plains with its strong Atlantic surf. At the peninsula's tip, Montauk Point State Park is home to the 1796 Montauk Point Lighthouse. A museum in the Keeper's House displays historical documents signed by George Washington. Camp Hero State Park, once a military base, has World War II bunkers and a radar tower. Right. It was, it's from what I'm able to read on it, it's a tourist destination. It's got 6 state parks in it. It's particularly famous for its fishing, claiming to have more saltwater fishing records than any other port in the world.
So either click on Camp Victory or look for something that says Montauk Project.
The Montauk Project, Experiments in Time. What? Time travel?
You're welcome.
What the fuck?
Enjoy.
We'll be right back while I read this. So yeah, that was the other experiment I was wanting to talk about, the Philadelphia experiment.
There you go.
Yes. Now, this is looking off a book called The Montauk Project Experiments in Time, first edition cover. So the Philadelphia experiment, also known as Project Rainbow, which supposedly took place in 1943. But let's see, sometime in the 1950s, surviving researchers from the original Project Rainbow began to discuss the project with an eye to continuing the research into technical aspects of manipulating the electromagnetic bottle that had been used to make the USS Eldridge, DE-73, invisible. So that was the one I was looking at, was the USS Eldridge. So the Philadelphia experiment was purported naval military experiment in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Sometime around the 28th of October in 1943, the Eldridge was supposed to be rendered invisible by a cloaking device. Now, I remember reading about this years ago when I was younger, and the cloaking device that I had heard about was they used Tesla coils, which all a Tesla coil was like a big spool of copper wires, and then they ran like DC through it and AC through it.
Mm-hmm.
And they just had them all over the ship. They ran the current through it. And I think everybody on the ship died. I
don't know if they died, but if they did it, I don't think it was instantly.
Yeah, I mean, everything, like, there's nothing on it. Like,
there were some people that were, like, really messed up, I think.
Yeah, now, the reports that were outside of the ship was, once they activated it, there was, like, a green gas that engulfed the ship. And then it just disappeared. And then it reappeared, I want to say it was 56 nautical miles out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, out in the ocean, just went from port to ocean. And not a long period of time. It was
not an appropriate amount of time,
yeah,
but with the distance.
Yeah, in the time it would have taken it to travel normally from the port to the location it was found was impossible for the ship's capabilities at the time. But when people got on board from the Navy and whatnot to look at the ship and assess it, a lot of the crew was dead, and they said they found some people where their bodies had fused. Not like melted, but like they phased in and out of existence and fused with the hull of the ship. Like there was one guy apparently that half his body was fused in with the hull from the waist down. He was fused. Of course, he was dead. One guy's arm was fused into the hull, and it was 20-some feet away coming out of another part of the ship. It's weird. It's considered, according to the interwebs, to be a hoax.
Like the whole thing was staged, or
it just never happened. It was, fake news.
I'm pretty sure there's some supporting documentation on that. Yeah, I don't know for sure. I haven't actually done the research.
Redacted.
Of course. The Philadelphia experiment itself actually took place. It's just not necessarily been confirmed what it was.
Yeah. Now, with cloaking, there is stuff like that already out. There was years ago, I believe it was a Japanese scientist, not even a scientist, he's like an artist, he developed a raincoat, like a slicker, like a poncho, that had millions of these pearls. They looked like pearls, but they were some kind of luminescent thing. And this guy stood in front of a building, of like a shop, but the only caveat to this was it had to be shot with this remote camera, that it would shoot the slicker with an image, and it had like little cameras behind it, and then wherever a guy stood, the cameras would pick up everything and then display it on the front of the poncho, and it actually looked pretty good. Like the guy would put his head down, and then you couldn't see. He'd put his head down, and you couldn't see his face, and then that rain slicker looked exactly like everything. Somebody walked behind him, and it just looked like somebody had walked behind him, or somebody was just walking through there. Like, you actually had to kind of look hard to see that there was a person there.
And that was probably when was the date on that one?
Oh, that was...
The point I'm trying to make is we probably have something a little bit more advanced.
That was probably in like 2012.
Yeah. Because they're continually working on these projects.
Yeah, because I know that was when me and you were still working midnight shifts at the other job.
Right.
Okay. Get your vape in. I know you want to. All right, guys, it looks like we're all out of time here for this evening tonight. I am River Sullivan. With me again, the Silver Fox Scott. But also, don't forget all the other different ways here that you guys can check out the show. If you're not checking us out on YouTube, check out some of the other forms. We also have iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Sounder, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. Also, check the links in the description below here. We'll include links for the coffee, links for the Corona, and we also got... we can get you a 5% coupon by our good friend Ben here for your orders of Player One coffee. Even though it's not Player One coffee that we're doing, I might still leave the coupon on there.
Do it.
And also don't forget here, June 1st, the merchandising store goes live for your wearing pleasure. But okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. And until we see you next time here on the show, peace out.